And in this Microeconomics Series 3, it is in continuation with the previous series, the topic demand. And the demand, as I told you all, is the desire plus ability to pay and the willingness to spend. We also came to know in the previous series the law of demand, that other things remaining constant, there is inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. But many a times, this law gets falsified. There are many cases, many situations when the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded is not there, and there comes a direct relationship or a positive relationship between price and quantity demanded. And this is the exceptions to the law of demand. That means it is going against the law of demand. There have been many exceptions, but the chief exceptions are still, as an economist, is treated as different goods and Veblen goods. Other factors are due to situational change, taste and preference change, or some emergencies. I'll be elaborating you on the various exceptions. So initially, the different goods was and Veblen goods were regarded as the chief exceptions to the law of demand, and different goods concept was given by Sir Robert Giffen, who gave the concept of different goods that even if the price is increasing, the demand is also increasing. Sir Robert Giffen observed the behavior of low-paid British workers in the early 19th century, and the low-paid British workers used to consume bread and meat. So when the price of both the bread and meat increased, they thought of substituting bread to meat, because we all know meat is an expensive item. So they could not afford at a higher price. So they thought of substituting bread to meat, and they started increasing demand of bread even at a higher price. Please note it, price of bread and meat both increased, but they substituted bread to meat and they started increasing the demand of bread. This type of behavior is called the Giffen goods. At the same time, Thorsten Veblen had given a name of exceptions called Veblen goods. And these goods are generally more visible in society rather than Giffen goods, because there are many people who buy goods and services at a higher price. The reason behind, to show off, for a snob appeal, to have a place in the society, they spend more at a higher price. They want to justify themselves as a multi-rich or a multi-millionaire. So this is called the Veblen goods. So in this case also, even at a higher price, there is increase in demand. Apart from these two, there are many other exceptions also, like expectations of price change. If we expect that there is price increase in the future, let me give an example of onion. When we expect a price increase of onion a day after the present day or tomorrow, we are expecting a price increase in onion, we are going to spend more on onions at the same price. We are going to demand more of onions. So today only we'll go with a bag and we'll purchase more of onion. Maybe the onion is today 40 rupees kilo, and tomorrow it is going to be 80 rupees kilo. So even at a 40 rupees kilo, without change in price, the demand has increased because I am expecting a price increase tomorrow. The price will increase to rupees 80. So why not purchase today itself and hold it at our home? So even at the same price, the demand has increased. The law of demand states that when the price will decrease, then only demand will increase. But here, at the same price, demand has increased due to expectations of price change. Then there are many necessary goods and services. Necessity items, even if the prices are increasing, I am going to purchase. I am going to demand it, because I cannot live without it. I cannot, suppose if I am sick, I cannot think that the medicine, the Calpol price has increased to 100 rupees per tablet, so I won't take. No, I will take, because it's a necessary thing for me. If the price of salt or any other necessity goods increases, we are not going to think of the price. We are going to consume it. We are going to demand it. Further, Sometimes demand for a product may change according to the change in income also. We are saying that if the price will increase, demand will decrease, but maybe my income has increased. So the price will not matter to me. Even at a higher price, my income has increased, I can afford to purchase it. So in that case also, it is going against the law of demand. Ignorance. This is very much common. We don't know the prices in other market. Giving you example, if you go in village, the vegetables are very cheap. If you come in a city, the vegetables are costly. So we are not knowing about the price of that very product. We are not able to judge the quality of the products many a times. So in that case, ignorance also matters. Change in fashion. Now, if the fashion changes, we are not going to purchase the old-fashioned clothes. Even if they are giving us in a very lower price, we are not going to demand more because we are affected by change in fashion. Inferior goods. This is a concept based on the income. When our income increases, many a times we go for a superior goods. We go for a branded products. Previously, we were using local brands product, but my income has increased, so I'll be purchasing branded products. So that local income products has become inferior goods for me. Even if the price is decreasing or increasing, price is not mattering for us. But my income has increased, I'm going to purchase it. Then the bandwagon and demonstration effect. Both are more or less the same. This is a psychological figure to imitate others. We start imitating others' behavior. My friend has got a Oppo phone, so I am also going to purchase it. Because he is having a good Oppo phone, I have been influenced by his purchasing behavior. The camera is very nice. All these things are under the bandwagon or demonstration phase. We imitate. We are influenced by others' purchasing behavior. We want the thing which is in others' house or in another's hand. So this is bandwagon and demonstration effect. After the exceptions to the law of demand, now I come to the elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand. This word is very much confusing also and interesting also. We see elasticity as only a thing which can have elastic, a capacity to expand or contract. But when we put in economics and particularly to elasticity of demand, so demand also expands or contracts like other things. It has also got elasticity. It can also contract or expand. Elasticity of demand. It is the rate of change in demand, I should say. The law of demand has told the direction of change in demand. But the elasticity of demand tells us the rate of change in demand. The law of demand only tells us that if the price increase, demand decrease. If the price decrease, demand increase. But how much it brings changes to the demand is not told in the law of demand. This is the thing which elasticity of demand tells. Elasticity of demand tells the rate at which the quantity demanded of a product changes with respect to a given change in any of its determinants. We have studied a lot of determinants in the series 2, the factors affecting demand, of which the price was the most important. But apart from price, we have taken for easy calculation two more concepts, income and related goods concept. So these three factors have been taken into consideration while calculating the elasticity of demand: price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand states how much change a price brings to demand. Income elasticity of demand tells how much income change brings change to demand. And cross elasticity of demand is of related goods. If the substitute goods price is increasing or decreasing, how much it is affecting the other substitute goods demand. If the complementary goods price is increasing or decreasing, how much change it is bringing to other complementary goods demand. So this is told in cross elasticity of demand. So starting with the price elasticity of demand, it is the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a commodity to a change in price. That means how much change does a price change brings to the quantity demanded. If the price is bringing a lot of change in the quantity demanded, it is called elastic demand. If the price is not bringing lot of change in demand, then it is called inelastic demand. Based on these concepts, the elastic and inelastic, there have been 5 cases of elasticity of demand: perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, relatively elastic demand, relatively inelastic demand, and unitary elastic demand. These are the 5 types, and these 5 types explains the real difference between elasticity and non-elasticity, or in a simple way, elastic and inelastic demand. If we see this slide, we can now know what is elastic demand and what is inelastic demand. Elastic demand, the Coca-Cola price has reduced or increased. In both the case, you can see if it has increased to $3, the consumer is saying forget it. If it has decreased to $1, the consumer is very happy, good price. The difference that the price change is bringing a lot of change in demand. This is called elastic demand. When the price changes brings a lot of change in demand, a bigger change in demand, it is called elastic demand. Because this Coca-Cola is not a necessity item, remember it, because necessity goods, if I say elastic and inelastic, then necessity goods have inelastic demand, because without that we cannot have a simple living or a comfortable living. So elastic demand, as you can see, this is bringing a lot of change in demand. A slight increase or decrease in price brings a great change in demand. Inelastic demand, this is about milk, because milk is a very essential item of our consumption in day-to-day life. So even if you can see in the slide that even if the price has increased, somewhere or the other she has to take it. So with the change in price, the demand is not very much influenced. The demand does not change a lot. So when the price changes and the demand does not change a lot, it is called inelastic demand, because these are very much in necessity goods. So telling about the types of elasticity of demand, the first type is perfectly elastic demand. Here, a small change in price of a product causes a major change in demand. Infinity times, the numerical value is infinity of this perfectly elastic demand. A small change in price will bring a very large change in demand. Infinity times change in demand. Perfectly inelastic demand. In this, price changes or does not change. There is no change in demand. And this is generally for very essential items or necessity items like medicine, water, salt. You can see in this figure that even if the price is increasing to P1, P2 or P3, if it is increasing to P1 or it is decreasing to P3, there is no change in demand, because demand remains constant here. We are going to demand medicine. If we are sick, we are going to demand for water even if the price is 100 rupees a bottle. This is called the perfectly inelastic demand. There is no change in demand due to change in price. The third is relatively elastic demand. Relatively elastic demand refers to the demand when the proportionate change produced in demand is greater than the proportionate change in price. That means a small change in price brings a greater change in demand. Generally, your consumer durable goods falls into this category. So you can see that the price is increasing from P2 to P1. So the demand has increased from Q1 to Q2. This space is much larger rather than P1 and P2. space. So small change in price brings greater change in demand. This is called relatively elastic demand. Then relatively inelastic demand, that means greater change in price, smaller change in demand. Or in other words, when the percentage change produced in demand is less than the percentage change in price of a product. So this is called the relatively inelastic demand. Then there comes the unitary elastic demand, where proportionate change in demand produces the same change in the price of the product. That means the price changes 20%, the demand also changes 20%. Proportionate change, unitary elastic demand. Now, concluding the types of elasticity of demand, we have done with the perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, relatively inelastic demand, and unitary elastic demand. All these 5 types have numerical value also. Perfectly elastic demand has numerical value of infinity. Perfectly inelastic demand has numeric value of 0. Relatively elastic demand is numeric value greater than 1. Relatively inelastic demand is less than 1. And unitary elastic demand has equal to 1. As far as description is concerned, the perfectly elastic demand, as I told you all, that greater change in demand in response to percentage or smaller change in the price. For example, you can take the example of any product which you feel like. Think on this, perfectly elastic demand. Though in real life situation, I will suggest there is no such demand. But still, it's on the students to think on this. Perfectly inelastic demand. In this, the demand does not change with the change in price. Either the price increases or decreases, least bothered, because this falls under the category of necessity goods. Relatively elastic demand. A small change in price brings a greater change in demand, generally the consumer durable goods. Relatively inelastic demand, a small change in price, a big change in price, the demand does not change that much, as much the price is changing. Generally, the essential goods comes under this category. And unitary elastic demand, percentage change in demand and percentage change in price move in the same direction, in the same percentage. That means equal change in price, equal change in demand. So these are the 5 types of elasticity of demand. And with this, I'll be concluding this series. And in the next series, we'll be continuing with this. And students, we are discussing in the series of economics. A lot of things have been discussed till now. I will request you all to just connect with all the series, because connecting with the series means you are able to understand the things. So try to connect all the series with each other. In the next series, I'll again tell you about more about the demand. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.